Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the UpperEdge Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Chuck Wiercinski, owner of Rugged Air Heating and Cooling. Chuck has built a strong reputation around quality service and customer satisfaction throughout McCollin, Wisconsin. Hey, Chuck, it's great to have you on, man.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
Amazing. So, Chuck, please, tell me a little bit about your background and what led you to start Rugged Air.
So it was kind of it was born of great timing, I guess you could probably say. So my background, I worked for another HVAC company for about a decade in operations. I really kind of cut my teeth there, learned the ropes there, learned the business, learned the trade, and after that, I struck out on my own for a couple of years. I did some consulting work as well as working for a big online retailer at the same time. And that was, 2 years of working two jobs that paid like half of one. So
Yeah.
then I ended up getting poached as a chief operating officer for a home services company. And that was it was pretty great for a year. Then they ended up closing their HVAC division, and also migrating away from the software in which I was the expert. So in that time though, I had acquired all my certifications. I had acquired I was just like, it was a matter of signing a couple of things and getting some paperwork in order. And I asked my wife, because you got to get the wife's permission. And I said, "Do you mind if it's time. It's time for me to open my own HVAC company." And she said, "Yeah, let's go for it." And a year ago, Rugged Air LLC, doing business as Rugged Air Heating and Cooling, was born.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, in your past experience, were you working in the field, actually servicing the units, installing, or were you more like behind the scenes, their operations?
Yeah, I was behind the scenes, and so I came in and I had to. I had zero respect when it came to the technicians. So I came in with my fancy business ideas, and but I didn't really know how the business worked. And you can't come in thinking you know everything. I had to basically be humble and learn as much as I could as fast as I could. And it took about a year, but I kind of won over their respect. And then just through helping them out, and they just really, the technicians that I worked with, I would go help out on jobs every now and then. It That's kind of where I learned the installation and service side of things, as well as sales. I did some sales in there as well. So you did a little bit. You kind of filled in as you needed to. When I was operating as the COO, just before Rugged Air, we had a hard time filling any positions. So I ended up just out of need and necessity running those calls. And I really had I really didn't know what I was doing, but that was a 1 year, solid year of me just trial by fire. And now, I do have some experience under my belt. Now I can run a service call. I can install furnaces and air conditioners. As well as now I know the business side of things. So it's been a journey.
That's great. What an advantage, right? To know every facet of the business.
Oh, I don't know about
Right.
every, but yeah,
So tell me about what's one of your biggest wins or breakthroughs for the business since you started?
so the biggest wins was, I thought I was going to be doing residential service and repairs, and I was going to be able to, just be found, and by word of mouth, I coach youth football. We have a pretty good, close community where I live. I just thought I would have enough friends and family nearby that I'd be able to kind of get the word out, and some word of mouth was gonna be it. But what ended up happening was I was at a hardware store, and a builder was behind me in line and noticed my shirt, my uniform, and asked me some questions. Said, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody small and local." And I said, "I'm the smallest and the most local, so you found the right person just by accident." So that was a huge win early on, getting in with a builder who had a bunch of different properties that I could run and go to. and then I found other builders and other property managers. So that finding those connections, either by accident or through little networking opportunities, has been like probably the biggest win, because finding leads and doing marketing is really challenging and difficult, and it comes in really slow. So if you can find somebody who has properties that they need help with, if you find a property management company, uh, or a builder that's doing remodels. So I didn't think I'd be doing a lot of remodels, but here, that's what I had to learn. That was the business that was coming my way, so that's what I had to do.
That's amazing. And what's really great about that is, yeah, people spend a lot of money in marketing, but sometimes you wear a T-shirt with your name on it, and boom,
Yeah, I know.
land into a bunch of business, right?
Make sure you have your truck lettered, and you're always.
Yeah.
I'm always, everything is orange and black. I'm just constantly. I'm constantly pushing the brand, and I'm constantly doing that, because it proved to me it worked almost instantly. So
Right. That's smart. That's smart. And talking about being, a small local family business, last time we talked, you said that your son sometimes helps out on jobs and gives you a hand there. That's got to be fun working with him and teaching him the trade.
yeah, and he's 13, and I don't know how much I can really put him to work, but he's a tough kid, and Camden is he's eager to work when we can get him to work, and he was eager to earn money to do the things he wants to do. And I said, "Here's how you make money." And I said, "Rugged Air is always going to have a spot for a shop guy, so he will help me bring in the scrap when it's being after it's been processed. He'll help me if I need a hand pulling something out of a basement. He can give me a hand. So yeah, it is. I don't want to push it too hard, but um, because I think that's how a lot of people end up in this trade, is they kind of have to work for the family business, and so they learn from the shop pushing the broom and on up.
Yeah, either
But
way,
it is
great
fun.
work ethic you're installing in them, right? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we hope. Yeah,
That's,
fingers
yeah.
crossed.
So what would you say, really separates Rugged Air from a lot of the other companies operating out there, kind of big or small? Like what's your core values?
So we really want to be kind of community based. So I really, as much I'll say, like, when I decided my service area, I said we'll go up to maybe an hour away, but I'm going to only advertise within maybe the nearest 20 minutes. Like I said, I coach youth football for this Mequon Thiensville program. So like giving back, and I want to be one of the hometown people that everybody kind of knows. I want our company to be one of, since private equity that's buying up a lot of the little guys, and they're retiring, and they did great, and that's awesome. So there's a little bit of a vacuum there now to be filled, and I want to fill that vacuum. When people say I have a guy, I want to be that guy, or that or that girl.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, as the private equity buys everything up, they try to put on the facade that they're still a local company, but a lot of that quality and that care will start to go to the wayside over time. So I think, yeah, really good timing for what you're doing. Let's start
I
filling
mean, I
filling that
hope
gap.
so. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, time will tell, that's for sure. But I think it's smart. I think it makes a lot of sense for sure. So, as the business has started to grow, right? You're getting, fairly new, but you're growing. Um, what's one of the harder parts, kind of behind the scenes, seeing that you're kind of a smaller outfit, you don't have a large, employee base just yet. What's some of the hardest things to juggle?
I mean, that's actually a great question. Something just happened before we jumped on here. Um, I have a client who needs a humidification install, and I had it in the schedule. I didn't mark it on the schedule. But my website, you can book open time slots on my website. So it's only me, so I don't have anybody in the office that's helping book. So I need my website to be able to book appointments. So I have to constantly remind myself that if I have an appointment that I think I'm going to take that time slot, that I have to block that off even before I confirm it. So scheduling is a big challenge, just to make sure, because now I don't know how I'm going to fit those two things. And as soon as I get off this call, I have to figure out how I'm
Yeah.
going to juggle those two calls at the same time, because I don't want to disappoint anybody. So that I think is probably one of the bigger ones. Just kind of, it's the behind the scenes stuff like accounting. That's not my background, and it's not what I love to do. So I have my CRM communicates with my accounting software, but that only gets it so far. I still have to kind of
Right.
reconcile banks and all that, super fun stuff.
It's fun stuff. Billing. Yeah. Billing, accounting is all, right. All these parts of the business that people don't think about, when you are a business owner. There's so many facets. What do you use, like Service Titan, or what CRM are you using?
So I was trained on Service Titan with this previous company that I worked with. And that's actually, I did consulting. I was a private company that would do consulting for Service Titan for people who are on Service Titan to kind of help them out. The CRM I'm using now is Jobber, which is a smaller little CRM it's actually working really well for me right now. There's a few big players in the market. Uh, Jobber seems to kind of, have just the basic stuff, and there's a lot of bolt-on items that you can use. But I just had, I wanted something that I'd be able to figure out how to do online booking. They can even do like build a website for you if you want with full integration. And then I needed to talk to my accounting software. So those were kind of my requirements for my CRM. It also sends out reminders the day before, thank yous, asks for reviews, all that stuff in the background. So you don't have to touch any of that. And it makes it really nice.
That's fantastic that you have all that past experience working with CRMs and the behind the scenes aspect of the business, because as you grow, that's the part that a lot of people that are more in the field, they don't have any idea how to manage all that,
Right.
right? So that's such a strong suit.
Yeah, and I have, friends and contacts who run their own businesses similar to me, but they're still analog and still paper, and I don't know how you do that. You go home at night and you're filling out invoices now and licking
Yeah.
stamps, and no thanks, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
I was able, with this job I just did this morning, I'm able to complete the job, adjust my invoice, text it to them. They're able to pay me while I'm standing right in front of them. No cards even needed. It's the way to go.
Isn't that great? I know
Payment fast and move on.
it's amazing. That's what at UpperEdge, that's what we specialize in, is helping businesses with workflows, right? And I work with so many businesses that, yeah, like you said, they're still analog and paper. And once you give them these new tools that we have, these automation tools and things, they're just like, it frees up so much time. A little resistant at first because they're a little maybe nervous about the technology or how to integrate it.
Yep.
But then once it's flowing, it's just like, wow, frees up their time. They're so much happier, right? Jobs are running smooth. Their family's happy. Wife's not upset because they come home from work and they're working more.
Yeah. I mean, and I hear that those exact same things where people are resistant to the technology and they're worried about, oh, but I'm gonna have to pay this little 0.5% to this person. How much is your time worth? Um, so now, like you were just saying, now I might have that extra hour. There's still late nights. Obviously, that's going to happen, and
Yeah.
that
Business.
everybody understands that. Exactly, you're right. Uh, but if I can cut down on a couple of those, and spend a little extra time watching the NBA playoffs with my kid and my family, that's fun.
It's what you do it all
Absolutely worth
for,
it.
right?
That's
Yeah, it's
exactly
what you
right.
do.
Yep,
It's what you do it for, right?
100%.
Man, so yeah, during the busy seasons, which you're coming up on here, summer, right? It's going to be hot. Um, how, as you get busier, like, yeah, what's your plan for handling all those kind of inbound calls as you're stretched thin, and that customer communication, staying on top of that?
So the so that was another decision I had to make. And how am I going to answer phones? You just have your cell phone out there? That's one option. I opted to go with a phone service, so I can have a separate business phone number that I can now move around. And with that comes AI recording and AI dictation. So I can be on the phone with a customer. I can be in a basement, and this just happened today. I was outside. I was turning a wrench with one hand and talking to the customer with the other. And my AI is taking notes, and I get a recap. I get a appointment. I get a task list. All of that is all now recorded and just ready to go. I don't have to juggle and fumble for my notebook because you got to have one of those as well. Uh, so I'm hoping that the phone service is going to help a lot. I'm hoping to get overwhelmed. I'm welcome, I'm welcome to figure it out. Uh, I,
That's great. So
yeah, I'm happy.
the phone service, is that like a VA, a virtual assistant that answers, or is that an AI, voice
No,
AI?
the AI just happens when you answer the phone. So you answer the phone and you get a little chime that says AI is now taking notes. So you have little AI in the background. It's not a virtual assistant. I could do that, and I probably should. I'm going to see if I can handle it first.
Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly, right.
If I can't, then I'm going to have to hand it off to either a human being or a virtual assistant. And I kind of always in the beginning thought that's probably what we're going to do is go with a virtual assistant, and then that can help facilitate and then push stuff out to me if I need it.
And that's smart. Just yeah, integrate those things slowly, and as the business grows, then look at the other options that are out there and start to implement those into the business.
Right, right.
So, was there anything operationally that you wish ran smoother day to day? If you had a magic wand that's to fix a certain problem that you had.
I wish I was a faster technician.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being like, so when I worked in operations, I knew how many appointments we had per day. So operations, I have an efficiency ratio I got to maintain. I have how many appointments are open, how many are booked. You have to book the schedule. Um, and I'd be pretty angry if I was my operations manager for me as the technician because I'm very careful. I can't afford to screw up because I can't afford to go back. It's going to happen. You're going to have callbacks. Those things do happen, but I can't. So I have to take my time and hopefully get everything done 100% correctly. One, I have a reputation to build, not even maintain. I have to build a reputation. And then two, I gotta, I can't, like I said, I can't, not that I can't afford a callback. 'Cause it's just my time, but I can't afford it reputation wise, and I have to be able to move on to the next thing. I keep telling my wife, I need to be able to cross something off and move on, cross it off and
Move
move on.
on. Yeah, I know that feeling. I'm the same way. I want to get
Yeah.
it done right. I want to feel good about it and move on. Hopefully, not have to go
Mm,
back. So you're telling me that you're not meeting your time quota, that
I'm
you as an
not.
operations
No, I'm not.
guy, we're putting on
I'm, a-
your
yeah.
installers.
I hate until I have to, when I have to sit down for my year review with myself. That's
Yeah,
coming up in a couple months. I don't know how that's going to go.
that's awesome. That's funny. Nice. So, what would you say you're most focused on improving over the next 12 months in your business?
uh, so right now it's kind of a numbers game. I have to get into as many houses and build. I need to build a customer base kind of as fast as I can. So, because what I really also want to do is I want to be able to hire people. I want to be able to train other technicians. We need more people in this trade. Um, there's a need there, and I want to grow my company and my business and have it be a local company and business that operates and helps and gives back and just kind of operates seamlessly. So I think uh, making sure I got leads coming in. So marketing, making sure leads are coming in, making sure I'm getting in front of people in homes, helping them out as much as I can so that we can build a customer base and then I can start keeping people busy. Then I can work on the business instead of in the business it's the common phrase that people say now.
Yeah, that's great. So, what type of steps have you been taking towards that type of growth? Have you been working on with the ads or marketing, or what approach you've been taking?
Yeah. So my marketing has been I do Mailer Monday. So you have to try to figure out where your marketing dollars are going to be spent, and it is sometimes you're throwing stuff against the wall and trying to figure out what sticks. But I send out mailers to anybody who like new home sales in my area. And hopefully, they're coming to my area. Hopefully maybe need somebody to look over their system. So that's that's kind of the only analog thing I do is I send home these little postcards to the new homeowners. Other than that, I do Google LSA, local service advertising. I do a little bit of Yelp leads. I do Facebook ads. Sometimes I'll throw money on TikTok and Instagram. But I'd say out of the three, um, not YouTube, Facebook, Google, and kind of those home mailers are kind of where I spend my ad bucks.
Best. Yeah. Where do you see the most success? Or if you're
Not
able
in
to
the
track, if you're
mailers.
tracking
Not
that
in
and
the
not in the mailer,
mailers. Yeah.
which is
The mo
surprising, right? You would think the mailers would
Yeah.
be a very local kind of organic way to reach out.
Well, and I was listening to a podcast recently, and they said, if you have your choice, don't keep sending it out to new people. What you should be doing is get your pool and hit them again and hit them a third
Yes.
time. So I'm probably going to end up doing that at some point, kind of, pull back and then blast them all again. Um, just so they can kind of a reminder. Because if you're not, you just got to be in front of them when it's time. And it's just
Right.
it's one of those difficult things. But getting myself to come up organically as well as now sometimes paid in searches that's probably where you want to spend your money, and that's where I've had the most success.
Yeah. Do you offer any type of like subscription base to your customers, like maintenance service or anything like that?
I do. I just kind of solidified. I have a 1 year prepaid plan, and then you can do multi-year up to 3 years for that same prepaid plan. And then I also have a monthly subscription. And to date, I have not sold a monthly subscription. But again, that's when it comes to review time, I'm gonna, you
Yeah.
know, Chuck the
Push yourself.
technician has been lacking on his sales. That's all it is.
Well,
Uh,
it's so much to handle. Yeah. When you're starting a business, there's so many
part
different things.
And part of it, like you said, is there's background stuff. I have to be able to, since I haven't set one up yet, a subscription. I have you know, all the background infrastructure all there, but I just haven't set one up yet. So it's, things like that, and offering financing, and there's just a lot to do, man. And
Wow. But once you do it once or twice, that proof of concept is there and you know it works. And
yeah,
then you go ahead and you kind of just keep pushing it. That's nice. So
exactly.
right now, are you more? So it sounds like you're more focused on residential than commercial, or are you open to both?
I am very much open to both. And in fact, we have this little downtown area. Um, I want to be able to help out local businesses and help. I try to put my dollars back into the community, and it just kind of that's a nice little feature. So I am doing some light commercial, but I'm not really set up to do like kind of industrial or anything like that.
A lot
So
of that, yeah. A lot of times you're putting a lot of cash flow out there too, while you're waiting for those payments.
yeah, you can. And those were other considerations I had to make when I started the business. How am I gonna, there's one, the source of funding, and then two, how are you gonna kind of operate your sales and making sure you're never like too cash poor, and uh, uh, so yeah,
Yeah, it's a
I
balancing
do.
act for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That's great. So, if anybody wanted to reach out to you, Chuck, and learn more about your services, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Normally, of course, I have several email addresses. They all end in at ruggedairhvac.com, but they all come right to me. And the one that everybody can really use is Chuck at ruggedairhvac.com.
Easy. Chuck at
And that,
ruggedAirHVAC.com. I'll
yep,
be sure to put that in the description too. So this is great, Chuck. I mean, you brought a lot of insight onto the background, the operations, the day-to-day running a business. And I really appreciate you jumping on because I know you're busy.
yeah,
You're in between calls right now. You got a full day. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time here. But yeah, I really appreciate sitting down with you. It was an interesting conversation. And I will definitely, look forward to watching you guys grow and seeing all the success you're going to have, because I know with the values that you have, you're going to have an amazing, amazing future.
yeah. And good luck with the podcast. And it's been fun, and I appreciate you having me on.